next phase that we have labeled Turning the Desert Green, Enabling Restorative Growth. I'd like you to join me in welcoming the Chief Executive Officer of the Sahara Forest Project, Joakim Hauge. Please, Joakim.
So, thank you, Paul, for that nice introduction. I'll be joined by a panel here as well. I'll introduce them in a few minutes. First of all, I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate Bellona, both with a fantastic conference, but of course also with 25 amazing years. At the Sahara Forest Project, we are truly honored to have the Bellona Foundation as one of our owners and one of our founding partners. And we know that Bellona, they appreciate concrete action. Bellona appreciates new initiatives for the environment. And Bellona really appreciates bold new partnerships for the future. So, that is what we are going to introduce to you during these 40 minutes. Today, I'm very proud to announce that the Sahara Forest Project has entered into an agreement with the world's largest supplier of fertilizers, Yara International, and the Qatari company Kjetil, which is the world's largest single-site producer of urea and ammonia. As a first step of this cooperation, the Sahara Forest Project will enter into comprehensive feasibility studies in Qatar. Yara and Kjetil are committed to provide financial, knowledge, and technological support in this project. Kjetil and Yara will, among other things, contribute with scientific studies on how to contribute with a really environmentally friendly fertilizer for the greenhouses, and they will also contribute with studies on how to provide a specified fertilizer for desert environments. The studies will be financed by Kjetil, while Yara has provided a very generous support to the Sahara Forest Project Foundation. Should these studies provide the sufficient positive results and show the potential for this technology in Qatar, the parties of the agreement will enter into cooperation for establishing a test and demonstration center in Qatar. The agreement with Yara and Kjetil constitutes a major step forward for the Sahara Forest Project. Yara and Kjetil represent world-leading knowledge in how to industrialize new solutions. And also, they have a very, very relevant competence in the field of fertilizers. So, we are really looking forward to enter into this cooperation to team up with Yara and Kjetil to realize the Sahara Forest Project in Qatar. With me today, I have my good colleague, Kjetil. Kjetil is the Managing Director of the Sahara Forest Project. He will introduce the Sahara Forest Project technology, the concept, and the current status. Following Kjetil's introduction, we are very pleased to be joined by Terje Tollefsen, who is Head of Strategy for Yara International. And after that, Frederic will tell us a little bit about how and why Environmental Foundation from the cold north decided that they want to green the desert. Kjetil, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Joakim. To put it short, the Sahara Forest Project is all about producing food, water, and energy in the desert. Our ambition is to move from the fossil age towards the age of restorative growth. We simply will use the resources that we have enough of to produce what we need more of, utilizing sunlight, deserts, and seawater to produce the food, the water, and the clean energy. The important background for the project is from looking at how we use our resources today. There's been a consensus for a long time that we need to move towards sustainable use of resources. We believe that now the time has come and we need to be more ambitious. We need to go beyond sustainable towards restorative use of resources. Meaning that when we operate in an area, we want to bring more resources to that area than we take out. Our vision is to contribute to restorative growth, here defined as revegetation and creation of green jobs through profitable production of food, fresh water, biofuels, and electricity. Because it is important that the future solutions are good for the environment, good for development, and also good for the investors. We know that industrializing environmental solutions are not easy. But in our advisory board, we have Vasvik, Elizabeth Grieg, Ingrid Stange, that all contribute with their expertise and with their experience in tackling these challenges. And we're very proud to also lean on you in the days to come. Now, let's look at what this is all about. Sahara Forest Project, a new environmental solution combining existing technologies to explore the synergies between them. The two core components, the two core technologies are saltwater-based greenhouses and solar power technologies. Many of you might not be familiar with how a saltwater greenhouse works, and I will go through quickly the main principles behind this technology. We basically have the water. We bring the water into the desert where it's hot. Then we evaporate the water inside the greenhouses. That is the same process that happens out in the oceans every day. Now that process, it takes the energy out of the air, the evaporation process, reducing the temperature inside the greenhouses, and also creating then a relatively cool and humid conditions inside, which are optimum for growing a wide range of commercial crops. At night, we condensate the water on the roof of the greenhouse due to the temperature differences and collect it. It is very important for us not to let any of the salt water back into the sea. We have a zero discharge policy in our project, and simply what we do with the salt is that we evaporate the salt water until it crystallizes, and we are exploring opportunities to use those products then for commercial purposes. Remember the folk basking beetle that Michael talked about, and I would like now to show you an animation using the virtual hand of Michael, in fact, to show you how the greenhouse will work that we're planning to build in Qatar. So here comes the animation.
Let's just take a look at some relative temperatures. Our atmosphere gives us quite comfortable temperatures. So let's say, just for the sake of argument, that the nighttime ground temperature in the desert is about 30 degrees centigrade, quite cozy really. The temperature in outer space is 0 Kelvin, or minus 273 degrees C, which is quite nippy. And with a clear sky, you can get a black surface to radiate heat to outer space. And the ancient Persians knew this, and this is how they made ice in the desert. They would put down a bed of straw as insulation, then place shallow ceramic trays with black glaze on top, and pour in a thin layer of water. And that black surface radiating to outer space was enough to make the water freeze. So we're proposing something similar, or we're proposing something that uses some of those ideas in Qatar. During the day, the greenhouses function like this. We have a double layer roof. We bring seawater in to evaporators, which produce cool, humid growing conditions for the crops. At night, we drop the lower layer to create a large roof void. The evaporators then turn seawater into humidity, and the roof, possibly with a roller blind of high emissivity fabric, radiates heat to the night sky. Freshwater condensation then forms on all the internal surfaces, and runs down to a collection point at the ends and is stored for use during the day.
Yes, that is what we're building in Qatar. And to reassure you that these greenhouses do not only exist on notepads. There are a number of technologies that are available, are becoming available, and some are already in commercial operation. As I mentioned, they provide very good growing conditions for a wide range of commercial crops and can operate with zero brine emissions. A very interesting point is also that it creates opportunities for outside vegetation. And to give you an example, I'd like to show you, this was a seawater greenhouse, was built in Oman in 2004. 2 years later, it looks like this. Outside the greenhouse, you see the halophytes start to grow. There has been used no irrigation to make this happen. This is simply a result of water vapor coming out from the back of this greenhouse. So we want to explore the opportunities that this outside revegetation has for the project. Also, the seawater greenhouses, they provide very good and controlled climate for growing a wide range of crops inside, but also for algae. Here illustrated with open pond facilities, and this is a key part of the project, is to explore how we can produce algae inside the desert to fit right into the carbon negative value chain that Frederic talked about. Moving over to the other core technology, solar power technologies. There are a wide range of synergies between these technologies, and I will now use the concentrated solar power technology to illustrate some of these. CSP, as it's also called, is a mature technology. It has potential for a rapid, large-scale deployment, but as Carl pointed out earlier today, it is also a thirsty technology. It needs water. And bearing in mind that the EU member states want to import 20 gigawatts of electricity from North Africa by 2020, we can only imagine the stress that also these countries will be put under when it comes to water resources. So we are exploring how we can help that situation, because there are some really, really interesting synergies between these technologies. First of all, we provide an infrastructure for salt water. The salt water can be used for cooling of the CSP facilities. In fact, we have a very good dialogue with various industry partners, and they now told us that we can actually replace the cooling towers with our greenhouses. That's quite interesting news. Also, by taking the excess heat from the CSP facilities, we can use that in our greenhouses to produce even more fresh water that we can also provide to clean the mirrors of these facilities. And also, remembering the revegetation effect outside the greenhouses will help stabilize the soil to prevent a lot of the dust from settling on the mirrors, which is a challenge for this industry. So in essence, what we are doing here is we are creating a value chain around salt water. Basically, we have the sea, we put up a pipeline, we bring the water into the desert. We then put up our greenhouses and the evaporation technologies. We see soon we have this natural revegetation effect happening on the outside. We add on the solar facilities, and that is it. This is the core components of the Sahara Forest project. Once we have this facility up and running, we are basically bringing seawater into the desert with a profit, and there is a whole range of other commercial opportunities that arises from this infrastructure. Mariculture, algae production I mentioned, halophytes for energy crops, but also to look at the salts. How can we extract the chemicals from the salts? There's a wide range of high value goods that can come out of the salt water, like lithium, for example. Now let's move on to what we are building. We are planning to build Sahara Forest Project Test and Demonstration Center. First of all, it will optimize the synergies between saltwater-based greenhouses and solar power technologies, but it will also work as a center for research and innovation. Research and innovation that will contribute directly to the carbon negative value chain. Saltwater-based biomass, as Tune mentioned, is a core component, but also how we can use the outside of the greenhouse, that new vegetation that we create, how can that also be cultivated and used for these purposes. This center will also be a center for training, so that we can train local people that then again can help roll out this project much faster, so that we can achieve what we're all here to do, and that is to achieve large-scale rollout of the project. In addition, we are creating a network of scientists and business that are all experts within their relevant fields, be it water, food, or energy. We want to bring these people together, so share knowledge among them, so that we can come up with solutions that are not addressing one of the issues and then perhaps at the expense of some of the others, but rather have a holistic approach to tackling the great challenges that we are facing. We're very proud to have two projects in the pipeline. One is in Jordan. Here we are conducting a feasibility study financed by the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have signed an agreement with the local authorities in Aqaba that gives us access to 20 hectares of land for the demonstration center and also 200 hectares of land for later large-scale expansion. We also started good cooperation with local universities and local business to get this project moving also on the ground. And then, of course, what Joakim mentioned earlier, the announcement of today, our project in Qatar, together with Yara and Kjetil. We are now already conducting the feasibility studies, and proud to say that actually in July we will have the first physical installation on the ground in Qatar. Yara contributes scientifically to the project by developing new fertilizers for use inside the greenhouses, and also environmentally friendly fertilizers to boost the outside vegetation effect. The intention of this agreement is, yes, to build the first test and demonstration center, and we expect to start already next year, providing that the studies give the results we expect them to do. Before leaving the floor to Head of Strategy, Kjetil in Yara, I would just like to bring your attention to a new scenario that we have developed especially for you today. It describes how the large-scale impact that the Sahara Forest Project can have in numbers. Because we are not in this to build a test center or to do those things, that's great. We're in this to make large-scale, large impact on the food, water, and energy challenges. So, to borrow the words of Albert Einstein, it is important that we do not use, to tackle today's problems, we cannot use the same thinking we used when we created them. And that is exactly what we're doing with Sahara Forest Project. We need to think outside that famous box, and in partnering up with Yara and Kjetil, we are starting to build on the ground with people that have tackled some pretty big challenges before. So thank you for your attention, and please welcome Kjetil, Head of Strategy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Yara and Kjetil, which stands for the Qatar Fertilizer Company, I'd like to congratulate Bellona with its 25th anniversary, and it's an honor to stand here and present for Yara on the occasion of us joining the Sahara Forest Project. I'd like to give you a small snapshot of what Yara is, and then talk a little bit about our vision for agriculture going forward and our ability to be a part of the solution, and then put the Sahara Forest project in that sort of a context. Yara is one of the leading fertilizer companies in the world. We operate in 51 countries. We market our products in 150 countries, and we have a global #1 position in key product groups. Our mission is simply better yield. Better yield for our customers, for our owners, and for our employees, but crucially also better yield for society at large. The world is faced with a significant challenge. In the next 40 years, the global population will grow to in excess of 9 billion. Diet change will also contribute, so that we need to produce 70% more food by 2050. And we have to do this on less arable land. And we have to do it far more sustainably than we have in the past. In light of this, Yara has established what we call a thought leadership agenda, which is about taking positions on key challenges where we think we can be a part of the solution. The thought leadership that we are engaged in is an integral part of our overall strategy. It is all about positioning Yara in a broader socioeconomic context. And all the initiatives we support and participate in should have a clear business logic in addition to the broader societal value they generate. And they should be targeted and sharply focused on delivering tangible results. In fact, we think that Nestlé says it better than we could, and so the thought leadership is about a company consciously identifying areas of focus where A, shareholders' interests and society's interests strongly intersect, and B, where value creation can be optimized for both. One of the key platforms we utilize to project the thought leadership activities we are involved in is the World Economic Forum. We play a key part in several initiatives within the World Economic Forum, particularly the New Vision for Agriculture, which is an initiative joined by a number of companies which addresses major challenges of global food and agricultural sustainability. The very simple goal is that the initiative should lead to that we every decade are able to increase food production by 20% while emitting 20% less and reducing rural poverty by 20%. One example of, another example of Yara's thought leadership activities is where we engage directly with other companies. We have what we call a value chain partnership with PepsiCo, their Tropicana division. Their problem is that they have a large carbon footprint in the orange juice. 58% of the CO2 emissions come from fertilizer. They really want to reduce it and use it as a differentiating tactic in the marketing of the juice. By using some of our key products, they could be able to reduce the carbon footprint of the juice production by 50%. We have started trials, 5-year trials are now ongoing in Florida, and this is a partnership between PepsiCo, SMR, Yara, and the University of Florida. So this brings us to why is Yara participating in the Sahara Forest project. Well, first of all, we think it is a visionary project that is really ambitious in trying to tackle some of the world's biggest challenges. We also think it could be a significant contributor in the world's need to produce more from less. And it fits well with our aim to catalyze positive change by leveraging the expertise we already have within process technology, within CO2, where we have extensive expertise, and of course within plant nutrition or fertilizer, and where we have a lot of expertise around fertilization of desert environments. And last but not least, it meets Yara's requirement that thought leadership initiatives should have a clear business logic. We see a potential in the future for production of ammonia from biomass. We see that we, through this, are able to develop special competence within a concept that has the potential to be commercialized on a very large scale. And through increased R&D that we will supply to the project, we can develop relevant knowledge that is applicable elsewhere. So again, I'm very proud to announce our participation in the Sahara Forest Project and looking forward to cooperating. Thank you.
From pollution to solution. To use what we have enough of, or too much of, to create a production of what we need more of. I'm proud. I'm proud of working together with industry, with our partners in the Sahara Forest project, and I'm proud of not only talking the talk, but starting to walk the walk. I think Kjetil put it right. New challenges need new solutions. And when we look at what has happened the last 20 years, we have got faster computers, internet goes faster, the amount of information is enormous. In Bellona, we're working in a knowledge business. Do we become more efficient if we get faster internet now? I don't think so. I think that we only will become more efficient if we manage to get the people, to get all this information together, to work together and elevate it. I think that a lot of the different renewable energy technologies will be more efficient. But I think very important part of it is what Sahara Forest Project creates, to create synergies between the different technologies. Concentrated solar power seems to be one of the technologies that really could come down when it comes to the price. Photovoltaic also. But to empty North Africa of fresh water to supply Europe with electricity is a bad idea. If we manage to cool CSP with seawater, we probably reduce the investments with around 10%, because that's the extra cost of air cooling. And the air cooling demands between 5 to 9% of the produced electricity. What we have done is a game changer, in my opinion, towards this technology. We could use the waste heat to evaporate more water and condensate more water. And we do that without, as was mentioned, the brine problem. And the brine problem is big. In the Gulf, it's now 6% salt content in the water because of all the osmosis facilities. In the Red Sea, Jordan, they are not allowed to put out brine with salt, concentrated salt. We have made this waste into a strategy of solutions. To be able to store renewable energy, used, for example, wind or solar, to pump seawater from the ocean or from underground aquifers, or there are many thousand wells of fresh water in Africa that has been contaminated with salt. Use the renewable energy like solar and wind to pump this water, store the energy into biomass. Then you have the whole world market there. If you're only able to produce electricity, you are dependent on a local electrical company, and many places connected with a lot of corruption. This could enable standalone production of renewable energy in a dimension that we have never taken into consideration in our strategies before. And with a global population that needs so many jobs, we need to look for this kind of strategies. When I first met Michael, I think that's now 4 or 5 years ago, we met at Google Zeitgeist. It's quite interesting conference. I was very proud to be able to speak there about carbon negative. And then I met Michael, and sometimes it's like this, and we looked up. I think, I must say to Yara and Kjetil, that a better celebration of our anniversary we could not get. Because we are so tired in Bellona. They get an income, they get a product to sell. That's quite clever to do in the Middle East these days. And this concept could be taken further on. It goes back to Jules Verne, 1905. He planned to flow what we call the Qatar Depression in Egypt with seawater to create a sailing route to North Africa. And Egypt has changed the world economy by digging channels before. The plans was never realized, but in 71, President Anwar Sadat said, could we bring seawater into the Qatar Depression to produce hydropower? Because Qatar Depression is 150 meters under seawater level. And the plans was started to be worked on. But the geologist said at that time, no, so much water in the Qatar Depression could create earthquakes. With Sahara first project, we are evaporating the water. In Jordan, where we have started, the Dead Sea is 600 meters under seawater level, and it's shrinking by a meter every year. In the studies we are doing now, we are looking at the possibilities to bring seawater all the way in. The highest top is 239 meters, and if we manage to evaporate a lot of water down the Jordan Valley, we could create an enormous hydropower plant, additional to everything else. In Qatar Depression, it's only 100 kilometers from the coast. What a potential. If 10% of the greenhouses globally from 2050, not 2015, 2050, 4 years from now, if we build 10% of all the new greenhouses every year, we will, in 2025, by this concept, be able to produce around 2 million tons of biodiesel from the algae production. Additional to that, we'll mine CO2 in all the outside vegetation. Additional to that, we could do fermentation of biomass and get residue that could be fertilizer and so on. If you continue, that goes, and that's not a big scenario, that's doable. If you continue with that until 2050, we produce around 10 million tons of biodiesel a year. And if we start to deploy this large scale, we could increase these volumes in an enormous amount. In Egypt, it's 60 million people that lives with poverty. And I think that the future political stabilization needs employment. Is it right to invest our capital in large-scale nuclear power plants with concrete and steel and so on? Or should we enable these people to be able to produce our future energy? We could build enormous solar parks, and it will be done. We could store some of the energy in biomass. We need that for the shipping and the aviation. I talked earlier about going carbon negative by co-firing biomass with coal and CCS. In concentrated solar power, you have turbines that makes use of the heat to produce electricity during the day. Could we do fermentation of biomass to produce biogas and use those turbines in the night so we could use renewable energy and solar as a base load of energy supply and then we get concentrated CO2 to feed the algae. And I hope that when I have a little bit more time, that I will be able to sail around and find the algae in the ocean that is absorbing as much phosphate as possible. Then I hope that we can do fermentation, produce biogas, maybe bioenergy for the fuel cell supply ships we have developed together with the industry. And the residue will be Yara's and Sahara Forest project, Kjetil's new fertilizer locally. Again, this is out of the box. This is this kind of solutions we need. And maybe the future climate negotiations, the international agreements will contain that the rich countries like Europe and US have to commit themselves to buy this kind of biomass from developing countries to go carbon negative. Maybe the best way to combat global warming and poverty is to do it by this kind of production and trade. So I'm extremely proud, and I think the launch of the news today is showing us that today is the first day of the next 25 years, and it's the beginning of the industrialization of the environmental solutions. Thank you.
I would like to take this occasion to invite Bill Watts, member of the board of the Sahara Forest Project, to come and speak to us. Please.
Thank you. Good. I would just like to say that as 3 years ago, this project was an idea shared between a group of guys in North London who met on a rooftop restaurant and just thought it up. What it took was, well, we can see what it is now. It's a viable business. We've just seen a major milestone with our relationship with Yara and Kjetil. And I must say that, Frederic, it's been due to your vision that bought into this vision, which changed it from an idea into something which is very real. And I think that I can speak for all the people, and I think probably everybody associated with the Sahara Forest Project is here, that we can speak for everybody, that we would very much like, and we're very much looking forward to, being part of the Bellona proactive session of the next 25 years. That is not the zeal that's gone into the campaigning, the prevention, is now going into the solution. And we can see that zeal in the Sahara Forest Project, and it is fantastic. And I'd just like to say, from all the members of the Sahara Forest team, happy birthday for 25 years. And this is a thing that you've got to open now.
It's a pleasure to work with you, Bill, and with Michael, and it's giving inspiration every day. Wow! I will do this. Yeah, we will produce more of that salt, yeah?